Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The most important relationship you'll ever have in this life is the one you have with yourself. I know, it sounds a little strange at first, doesn't it? You think, I'm already focused on myself. I wake up, I get dressed, I go to work, I handle my business. But let me ask you something. How often do you really focus on your inner self? I mean, really give attention to the most important part of your life, your mind, your spirit, your health, your dreams. The relationship you have with yourself is the most important one you will ever have. It forms the foundation for everything else in your life. Yet, in a world filled with distractions and pressures, many people forget to nurture this bond. We spend so much time and energy on work, relationships, and other obligations, but we often neglect the one person who will always be with us, ourselves. We look for validation from others, seek approval from external sources, and forget that the most important approval comes from within. When you prioritize your relationship with yourself, you are acknowledging your worth. You are recognizing that your happiness, growth, and well-being should be at the forefront of your mind. This doesn't mean being selfish or disregarding the needs of others, but rather understanding that taking care of yourself is not only necessary, but essential. The more you nurture yourself, the better equipped you are to show up for others in a meaningful way. Self-awareness is key in this process. By focusing on yourself, you begin to understand your own needs, desires, and limitations. You start to listen to your own voice rather than constantly seeking validation from the outside world. This shift in perspective allows you to make decisions that are aligned with your true self. It's about developing a deeper sense of self-respect and confidence and learning to prioritize what truly matters to you. It's easy to get lost in the hustle of life trying to meet everyone else's expectations. But the truth is that you can't give your best if you don't first give to yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't be the best version of yourself without taking the time to care for your own mind, body, and soul. Self-focus isn't self-focus, it's self-care. Many people associate the idea of focusing on oneself with being narcissistic or self-centered, but in reality, it's one of the most powerful and necessary things you can do for your own well-being. When you focus on yourself in a positive, intentional way, you're not pushing others away or ignoring their needs. Instead, you're ensuring that you're mentally, emotionally, and physically capable of being there for the people who matter most to you. If you are constantly pouring out to others without replenishing yourself, you'll eventually burn out and have nothing left to give. Focusing on yourself is an act of self-respect. It's about acknowledging your own worth and understanding that you deserve to be cared for just as much as anyone else. This doesn't mean being arrogant or self-absorbed. It's about recognizing that you too need time, space, and attention to thrive. Just as a plant needs sunlight and water to grow, you need to take time to nourish your own soul. When you prioritize your health, mentally, physically, and emotionally, you set the stage for a healthier, more balanced life, which in turn benefits everyone around you. There's a common misconception that being constantly available to others is the best way to show love and care, but this is not sustainable in the long term. If you don't take time to focus on yourself, you risk running on empty. Think about it. How can you be the best friend, parent, partner, or colleague if you aren't taking care of yourself? The reality is, if you're not well within, it becomes harder to show up for others with the love, patience, and energy that they need from you. Self-focus is not about being perfect or doing everything on your own. It's about being aware of your needs and taking responsibility for your own well-being. In fact, the more you take care of yourself, the more you'll be able to show up fully for others. It's like the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. If your cup is empty, you can't give anyone else the best version of yourself because you'll be drained. But when you fill your cup by getting enough rest, setting aside time for yourself, pursuing activities that bring you joy, you are able to pour that energy and positivity into the lives of others in a way that is meaningful and sustainable. Self-care isn't just about taking a bubble bath or going to the spa. It's about listening to your needs, whether that's asking for help when you need it, setting healthy boundaries, or simply giving yourself the grace to rest when necessary. It's about being kind to yourself, even on days when you feel overwhelmed or less than perfect. We often judge ourselves harshly, thinking that we should always be on top of things, always be there for others, and always give 100%. But that's not realistic and it's not healthy. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back, take a breath, and focus on your own mental and emotional health. When you focus on yourself in a way that promotes balance and well-being, you are actually making yourself more available for the people you love. You become better at managing stress, better at communicating, and better at offering your time and attention. In this way, focusing on yourself doesn't take away from others. It enhances your ability to give your best to those around you. You can't pour from an empty cup. This is one of the most important truths when it comes to focusing on yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of life, work, family, friends, responsibilities, and feel like you need to constantly be available for others. We live in a world that often praises those who are always giving, always doing, always putting others first. But the reality is, you cannot give your best if you are not taking care of yourself first. In order to be fully present and engage with the people around you, you need to ensure that you have the energy, the mental clarity, and the emotional resilience to do so. That starts with taking care of yourself. When you are constantly giving, whether it's your time, energy, or resources, you may feel a sense of fulfillment in the moment. You might even feel like you're doing the right thing by being there for others. But eventually, if you neglect your own needs, you will run dry. When your cup is empty, you're no longer able to give to others with the same level of care, attention, and energy. You may find yourself feeling resentful, exhausted, or disconnected because you've given so much of yourself without replenishing your own reserves. Think about it like this. If you are trying to fill a glass with water, but the glass itself is cracked, no matter how much water you pour in, it will never stay full. This is what happens when you neglect your own well-being. You're constantly trying to give to others without fixing the cracks in your own foundation, and eventually it will take its toll. But when you focus on yourself, when you take the time to fill your own cup, whether that's by taking a break, engaging in activities that bring you joy, or simply practicing self-compassion, you're ensuring that you have enough to share. You're refilling your cup so that when you do give, you're giving from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Taking care of yourself isn't just about physical rest, although that is an important part of it. It's also about mental and emotional care. You need to give yourself permission to say no when something drains you. You need to prioritize your peace, even if it means setting boundaries with the people you love. Self-care means paying attention to your mental health, recognizing when you need a break, and giving yourself the space to recharge. When you do this, you begin to operate at a higher level, not just for your own sake, but for the sake of the people who depend on you. There's no shame in needing time for yourself. In fact, it's essential for your well-being. By ensuring that your cup is full, you're able to give more to those around you in a way that's sustainable. You're not giving out of obligation or exhaustion. You're giving because you have the energy, the patience, and the mental clarity to do so. And that's the kind of giving that truly makes a difference. So instead of pouring from an empty cup, focus on yourself first. Fill your own cup, and you'll be amazed at how much more you have to offer when you do. Investing in your mental, physical, and emotional well-being is one of the most impactful things you can do for yourself. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook the importance of maintaining a healthy mind, body, and spirit. We get caught up in the rush of daily life, work demands, family obligations, social commitments, and we often neglect the core of our well-being. But when you make the decision to invest in yourself, you're not just enhancing your own life, You're setting the foundation for greater success,